Hi everyone, Materim here again with another WTF Warhammer battle report. For those of you who didn't see the last one we did, the WTF Warhammer games are just ones where we take just bizarre, strange, silly, totally unworkable lists and throw them against each other to see what happens. So tonight, the Bretonnia player is bringing a Bretonnia list with the least number of knights possible. He has only 6 knights in a 2,500 point game. And I'm playing the Empire, and I am bringing a list that features one of each of the 8 battle mages. So definitely character heavy, definitely magic heavy, so we'll have to see how it works against the unruly, unwashed mobs of the Bretonnia peasantry. So here's our board. Nothing really all that special except for the tower on the right hand side is a tower of blood. So everything within 6 inches of that tower is going to have hatred, which is definitely going to come into play. Okay, so starting on Bretonnia's left, up front there, and this is after Vanguard, we have a unit of 7 mounted yeomen with full command. In the back, we have his minimum size unit of 5 Knights of the Realm with the Banner of Swiftness and full command. And with them is his general, a Lord on Warhorse with the Gold Sigil Sword, the Grommel Great Helm, the other Trickster's Shard, and the Virtue of Heroism for heroic killing blow. Next, behind that, we have the Trebuchet. Well, I guess, sorry, to the right of that we have the Trebuchet. And in front of the Trebuchet, we have a Grail Reliquary with 30 Battle Pilgrims in it. Then in the forest, we have a unit of 16 Peasant Bowmen with full command. The Prophetess of the Lady, which is his level 4 Lore of Beasts with a Dispel Scroll and the Talisman of Preservation. Next to that is a unit of 71 Men-at-Arms with full command. There is a Paladin with the Virtue of Empathy in there, and the Sword of Might. A Paladin BSB with the Warrior Bane, Enchanted Shield, Dawn's Stone, and Virtue of Empathy. And a Damsel of the Lady, level 2 Lore of Life. Oh, and there was, in the Battle Pilgrims, there was another Paladin with the Armor of Agaloth, the Luckstone, and the Virtue of Empathy in there as well. Behind that is his second Trebuchet, and then off to the side is another unit of 7 mounted yeomen, which are turned to the side to face my scouts that I put over there. So we start off the Empire. In that corner there, I have 10 huntsmen with full command. Okay, so then for the Empire, on the left, we have a unit of 10 handgunners with a level 2 Heavens Mage with them. There's a Great Cannon in the back, obviously. There's a brick of 30 Halberdiers with 2 detachments. The detachment you see on the left is 5 Archers, and that has a level 2 Fire Mage and a level 4 Death Mage in it. The one that you can barely see on the right is another 5 Archers. That has a level 3 Shadow and a level 2 Metal in that. And then there's a level 2 Life hiding behind the unit. In the Halberdier unit is a level 2 to Beasts and a level 2 to Light. Behind that detachment is my Celestial Hurricanum. Next to that is a unit of 10 Inner Circle Knights. They have the Steel Standard, and with them is my General, a Templar Grand Master with the Rune Fang. And then on the far end we have a unit of 3 Demigryph Knights with full command and the Banner of Swiftness. Okay, so Empire gets first turn because Bretonnia does choose to pray. So first thing I do is I get that one detachment with the 2 wizards in it the hell out of dodge, so that the cannon will be able to fire. And I advance a little bit with my halberds. He's got such big units, I'm not really entirely sure how I'm going to handle them. So I kind of wanted to just play it loose and leave my options open at this point. The Demigryphs I wanted to go ahead and get up to see if I could pull that big unit of Peasants out of line and if he does hit me, I can hold him up for a turn or two. If not, I was going to zoom around them and get behind him into his war machines and stuff, but we'll see how that works. So magic, he stopped everything I had. I didn't roll high enough, and I had a lot of spells, but just nothing got off. Because he was rolling the dice, at least early on, were very much with the Bretonnia player. But during shooting, I did manage to bounce a cannonball over the Grail Reliquary unit, land it right on the head of his trebuchet, and take out one of the two trebuchets. So I also took off one of his mounted yeomen with the handgunners here on the left side. And over here, I managed to peel off one of his yeomen on this side with my huntsman. So Bretonnia turn 1 starts, and they charge the yeomen into the handgunners, who stand and shoot and kill all but 2 of those yeomen. So I'm not super concerned about that. I figure 10 handgunners should be able to handle 2 yeomen with very little trouble. Here in the center, his giant horde of men-at-arms charge the demigryphs and fail. So that was pretty good. I'm hoping maybe I can back up a little bit, get him to fail another charge, and kind of start pulling him out of the way so I can figure out how I'm going to turn this army into bite-sized chunks and take it down a little at a time. And then over here on the right, his peasant yeomen charge my huntsman, who open fire, and this is really where my dice luck starts just going totally sour. Because I hit him with just a crazy bunch of shots, and he armor saved all of them on a 5-up on cavalry, so that was kind of annoying. So he gets basically a full unit of yeomen in there into my huntsman, so they're in trouble. During his normal movement, he starts bringing up his tiny Night Lance forward. I think this is pretty good for me, because it'll give me some opportunities to shoot him up and magic him, which is good, because really, as far as packing a punch, that knight unit still can kind of mess up some of my smaller units I have here, so this gives me a good opportunity. And the Grail Reliquary is coming right down, basically calling out my halberdiers, and it's not afraid of them, and I really don't know that it should be. So, now I will go ahead and say throughout the battle, up until I actually get into combat with it, I had forgotten the thing was stubborn, so that kind of colors the tactical decisions I'll be making between here and there. During shooting, he peels 2 of the archers off of the back of this detachment, and I passed the panic check, but it now has me worried, because now he can pick out those wizards, and it was probably not a great idea to put them in the center of the line like this, but I wanted them where they could be to use their magic. And then we go into... and his 1 remaining trebuchet misfires, takes a wound, and can't shoot for 2 turns. But we go into combat. I kill 1 mounted yeoman, and he deletes the unit of huntsmen. Then in the combat over here, 2 handgunners get killed, but my handgunners do annihilate the rest of the yeoman unit. So that... I guess we traded low-cost units during that combat phase. So here shows a couple of things. This is Empire turn 2. First, you can see that during his last magic phase, he got Curse of Honor here off on the demigryphs, and Wissen's Wild Form off on his giant peasant brick. So then you can see my movement. Basically, I wanted to pull back in, let him come out a little bit, hopefully fail another charge so that Wissen's can wear off on that big brick before they get up into me. I also had my Metal Mage and my Shadow Mage bail out of that small unit of archers and come behind. They're still close enough to the halberdiers to get a 4-up lookout, sir, but I didn't want to run the risk of them panicking right yet. And then everything else just kind of changed facing a little bit. I don't like that mist wreath swamp there in the center, so I didn't want to go into that. But I also want to make sure that those knights don't have a flank shot on anything, so I just kind of bent my lines a little bit so that I could keep an eye on everything that's coming and choose the moment of greatest opportunity to strike. And over here I moved the archers a little bit so they're out behind the handgunners. At this point I'm just going to throw as many attacks into the knights as I can and hope to thin one or two down. I'm also hoping between the Death Mage and the Fire Mage and the Heavens Mage over here, I'm going to be able to do some magic to those knights and take care of them, but first turn he held my magic down pretty good. So I don't recall if it was magic or shooting. I think it was shooting. My cannon, I think, ends up taking 2 knights off the back here. Again, my magic phase was mediocre. I think I rolled 6 dice, and even though I had 8 channels, I didn't get a single daggum one of them. So he stopped me there. So we go straight into Bretonnia turn 2, and his knights succeed a charge against the handgunners who stood and shoot and accomplished nothing. My only hope here is that he forgets to allocate wounds on my metal mage who's right there and just tries to kill the unit instead, and maybe I'll survive. He also gets a long bomb charge against the demigriffs here, so I'm nervous here. I mean, the demigriffs can hold up to a lot of stuff, but that is a shit ton of men-at-arms. He also has 2 paladins in there. The only thing I did notice is his mage is right front where I can get her, so I think I'm going to try and kill her this turn and lower his magic abilities a little bit. And now with their job done, the yeomen turn around and start heading back into the battle here. So I managed to hold his magic down this turn, luckily, but he does, in shooting, take out the last little bit of those archers in the middle. So now I've got kind of this ugly gaping hole in my line that I really need to do something about very quickly. And on the left, I don't manage to do anything to his knights. He kills all but 2 of my handgunners and the wizard. He didn't allocate attacks on the wizard, and broke them. They end up running, so I'm like 2 inches from the edge of the board, but he did not catch me, so I do have an opportunity to rally here. And at this point, that's good, because I just want to keep those knights tangled up for a little bit longer. And over here, we see quite how bad Lady Mathematics hates me. My demigriffs do manage to kill his wizard, and maybe 1 or 2 men-at-arms, but he's rolling. She's got the prayer icon there that he popped before she died, so he's rolling ward saves like a beast, and he hit 5 times on the demigriffs, and I needed 2s to armor save and rolled 3 1s out of 5. So there goes one of the demigriffs. I break, or rather I lose, but I don't break. So we go into Empire turn 3, and I'm sorry about this blurry picture, but my knight unit charges into the front of the Grail Reliquary unit. I was kind of hoping I'd chop them up pretty good, but again, remember, I was forgetting that they were stubborn. So this is going to turn into a grind I was not really prepared for. And then over here, I did manage to successfully rally the fleeing handgunners and Heaven's Mage. And here is a much less blurry picture of where those knights ended up. I also went ahead and moved over my characters and the Hurricanum to get over here, just to be really out of line of sight of those peasants, because at the rate I'm going, I'm thinking they're going to just brutalize those knight the Demigryph Knights shortly and be free to run around and do whatever the hell they want. So, then during my magic phase, I get the Death Mage gets a small purple sun off, runs it, literally threads the needle, running over this unit. I do kill two of the knights, but the champion and the Lord are still alive. Lord's got initiative 10 because of something, I don't even remember, and that's where it ends up. Yeah, this, and then I turn the cannon around, point blank, 10 shots with grape shot. I wound 3 or 4 times, and on his Lord, and he 5-up ward saves every damn one of them. So nothing going on. Or no, wait a minute, all but one of them, because there is one wound on him with that wound counter in the back. And in combat, as I was predicting, this giant brick of peasants tears the demigryphs apart. The last one has one or two wounds on him, and he flees, and they catch him. So this is where they end up, with the dead, trampled demigryphs underneath them. And here, even though I have Ice Shard, Blizzard, and the Withering on this unit, my general flubs his attacks into the paladin that's in the unit, and my knights just can't hurt anybody. He's rolling ward saves like a champ, so I end up killing 2 battle pilgrims, but losing none of my own, and he's stubborn and sticks, which is just bad news for me, because the knights are about the only hammer I have. So during Bretonnia turn, he charges the peasant, or the 2 handgunners and the light mage. I chose to flee off the board so that he would flee with me and be tied up for an extra turn. I don't know if that's a great option, but it was about all I had. And you actually can't see the purple sun token because it's actually under his movement tray. It had moved right to where he disappeared on that turn, or it will be. We might have not moved it yet. So you see here, he's reformed his halberdier, or his man-at-arms in there, brings up his peasant yeoman. And you notice mine are facing the other way. I had actually last turn reformed them to look at the knights, which was a stupid move, and pretty much kept them out of any useful fighting well past the point that they were going to be able to do anything. So I'm kind of annoyed at myself for that. So we go into combat, because there's no shooting. Magic, I basically get, he gets Curse of Honor here off on my knights. I do a lot better this time. My general kills the paladin, and my knights take off like a whole rank off the back, even with the penalty, so that was pretty good. Problem is, I still can't break them, so we're stuck there again. So, my turn. I set up a double flee with the Metal Mage and the Shadow Mage against his big brick, hoping to keep them tied up for a little bit. They don't have far to run before they hit that unit of halberdiers, so I figure they'll hit the unit of halberdiers, run through them, and be safe. And I move up my archers with the 2 mages in it to get a better line of shot on everything. So we go into combat. Again, I pull off, I think, a rank and a half, something crazy like that. Even with Doom and Darkness on it. He needs a 4 and nails it. So they're not going anywhere, and I can't move them, and I'm not making any sort of progress with it. And those knights are now facing down a stupid number of peasants in the butt. So on Bretonnia turn, I believe this is turn 4, he charges the Metal Mage. Metal Mage flees, makes it through the halberdiers. He redirects to the Shadow Mage, who rolls, I think, 3 inches to flee. And so he gets caught, run down, and this is where they end up staring off each other at, which I was not happy with. Um, so Paladin and Knights come back. There's the Purple Sun that I mentioned earlier. They come back on right in the middle of the Purple Sun. It does nothing, and they move to where they are now, so that they have just an auto succeed charge into the cannon and aren't under the Purple Sun anymore. So magic, he got Curse of Honor here off on my Knights again, and then drops a trebuchet shot right on the head of my Halberdiers and peels off a full rank plus and does a wound to the Light Mage as well. So Empire turn, I charge into this big brick. I really have no illusions that I'm going to win this. At this point, it's just to make something happen. My magic has been completely failing me every turn. I've been getting a few little spells off, but not the big ones I need to thin down the units or anything. So at this point, I'm getting really kind of frustrated, and I just want something to happen. Over here, I have my mages split off. The Fire Mage is turning down to look at the Knights because he's going to try and fireball them. The Death Mage comes up right behind the Halberdiers because I'm basically going to just do a try for 6 dice of Giant Purple Sun, run it through my own unit, through the big unit, just kill anything I can at this point and rebuild those dice. So, you see where the big template is now? I got off the 6 dice, the big template, Purple Sun, without miscasting, and then misfire the scatter on it, so it starts on her head, goes backwards, kills the Fire Mage. So that's where that is. And then I grape shot and kill his last remaining knight in general. During close combat, the peasants just stomp a mud hole in my halberdiers. I think I might have killed 2 or 3 of them. It was really kind of obscene. And then they overrun and manage to connect to my death mage there. So she's going to die a horrible freaking death. And I didn't even take a picture of it, but you can see my knights are still slowly destroying the Grail Reliquary unit. But now that everything's moved, his fast cav has plenty of room to charge my life wizard who flees, and they slam into, or redirect into the Celestial Hurricanum instead. Okay, and so during combat here, the pictures are getting less and less because it's going by that quickly. I declare a challenge with my Death Mage. His Paladin accepts and then flubs. Does 1 wound to her. She breaks. She runs and escapes. And her breaking panicked the Metal Mage, who also ran. And the pursuit did not catch either of them, but slammed into the front of the cannon there. Over here, the Fast Cav broke the Celestial Hurricanum and ran them down, so that's where they ended up. And that panicked the archers, who kept running, rolled really high and ran right into the Purple Sun that's still sitting over there, and 2 of them died. And so during my turn 6, I finally had my knights manage to kill the Grail Reliquary, although they've killed 2 of the knights in return. So I turn and face. Not that it matters. I'm not going to get a chance to do anything else with these knights this game, because all that's left is bottom of 6, I believe. And during bottom of 6, or rather, I guess, my turn, the peasants killed the cannon. Top of 6, they charge into the Metal Mage, and obviously they're going to kill him. So, I don't even think I made him roll. I just let the Metal Mage die, and that was end of game. So, here is the battlefield after the game's over. My knights are hardly touched, but neither is his giant brick of 1.5 billion peasants. He still has his level 4 up top. And oh yeah, during my last turn before the Metal Mage died, I did Final Transmutation on his fast cav and killed all but one of them. So, as you guys can see, pretty solid victory for Bretonnia. It was a very strange game, but then again, that's what these WTF games are supposed to be. Um, as far as my list, I have to consider it a failure. I mean, obviously, not because I didn't win, because I really wasn't super expecting to, but it just wasn't even all that fun. One of the big things of trying to do these kooky lists is to just come up with something that's going to be provide for an entertaining game. And I think just so many points in the Wizards ended up leaving me not enough to even fend off the giant peasant brick. And so I just got mud stomped there. And as far as the number of wizards, I thought my biggest problem was going to be just trying to choose what spells to use and sort of an overabundance of spells leading to paralyzation. It really wasn't true. In pretty much every turn, there was only a couple of spells that I really cared about, and the bigger issue was just not rolling enough dice in general, even with the 8 channels plus the one I got from the Hurricanum. I didn't really even have enough dice to decisively cast one or two major spells. So I think even if I had a smaller number of wizards here, I still would have been screwed by just the random nature of magic in 8th edition. So I wasn't terribly happy about that. But it was fun to see the peasants just totally own face. And this Bretonnia player might just stop using knights altogether, frankly. He tends to do a lot better with these peasants than he does with any of his knights. And I know it's strange, but that's just how it is. Of course, I will just go ahead and say, you put 71 of anything in a single unit, it's going to be able to put in a little bit of work. And I mean, the men at arms, yeah, they're weapon skill 2, but they have halberds, so I mean, with that many attacks, something's going to get through. And unless you're matching it like horde for horde, which I just don't have the models to do so with Empire, he was going to put some pain on my face. So, congratulations to my opponent, and sorry if I was in a downer mood, but I was really looking forward for this to be a fun game, and I don't. For me, I don't think it was, and that was more of my my army choice than anything. My opponent was doing a great job utilizing his kooky list, and I think we can all see that his kooky list was a heck of a lot better than mine. Um, I would be interested to see this same Bretonnia list take on my crazy list from last time, where it was an ogre list with no ogres in it. I think I'd have basically the same problem in that I don't have an answer for 71 men at arms, plus paladins and stuff. I did think it was funny he ended up paying for the virtue of empathy 3 separate times, which, if you know anything about Bretonnia, the cost for it doubles every time. So he paid a lot of points just to put those peasants or those paladins in those units. So that just amused me. But all in all, thank you guys for watching. I hope those of you who are Bretonnia fans enjoyed this one. To the Empire fans out there, sorry guys. I'll learn to play this army one day. I hope. But thank you for watching, and please like the video and subscribe if you're not already. And we will catch you next time. Thanks again.